Hello, and welcome back to Storytime with Eric Zimmer. Today I got you all a real treat. A friend of mine let me borrow his treasury of the Madeline books by Ludwig Bemelmans. Now we all know the story about 12 little girls in 2 straight lines in an old house of Paris that was covered with vines. No wait, it's the other way around. But anyways, I thought of doing a read aloud of them in honor of the celebration of the 85th anniversary of the original book, which came out in 1939. Its 85th anniversary will be next year. I loved these books as a kid, as did many others, so now I am proud to read them all to you. One thing you'll notice in the illustrations that I've noticed, on every other page, the illustrations are black and white and yellow, and every other page after that, they're in full color. I wonder if it was an artist's choice or some other reason. But anyways, I hope you all enjoy them. The first story today will be the original Madeline. So you ready? Alright, let's begin. Madeline by Ludwig Bemelmans. In an old house in Paris that was covered with vines lived 12 little girls in 2 straight lines. In 2 straight lines they broke their bread and brushed their teeth and went to bed. They smiled at the good and frowned at the bad. And sometimes they were very sad. They left the house at 9:30 in 2 straight lines, in rain or shine. See what I mean? Every other page. Anyways, very good details on Notre Dame Cathedral. The smallest one was Madeline. She was not afraid of mice. She loved winter, snow, and ice. The tiger at the zoo, Madeline just said, "Pooh, pooh." And nobody knew quite so well how to frighten Miss Clavel. Notice in the color illustrations, she's the only red-haired one. In the middle of the night, Miss Clavel turned on her light and said, "Something is not right." Little Madeline sat in bed and cried. Her eyes were red. And soon after Dr. Cohn came, he rushed out to the phone, and he dialed Danton 106. "Nurse," he said, "it's an appendix." Everybody had to cry. Not a single eye was dry. Madeline was in his arm, in a blanket safe and warm. Well, those words don't really rhyme, but close enough. In a car with a red light, they drove out into the night. Madeline woke up 2 hours later in a room with flowers. Madeline soon ate and drank. On her bed, there was a crank. And a crack on the ceiling had the habit of sometimes looking like a rabbit. Outside were birds, trees, and sky, and so 10 days passed quickly by. One nice morning, Miss Clavel said, "Isn't this a fine day to visit Madeline?" Hold on, please. "Visitors from 2 to 4, read a sign outside her door. Tiptoeing with solemn face, with some flowers and a vase, in they walked and said, "Ah," when they saw the toys and candy and the dollhouse from Papa. But the biggest surprise by far, on her stomach, was a scar. Goodbye, they said, we'll come again, and the little girls left in the rain. Again, that doesn't really rhyme, but still. They went home and broke their bread, and brushed their teeth, and went to bed. I guess the atmosphere is very too quiet and not as happy without Madeline. In the middle of the night, Miss Clavel turned on the light and said, "Something is not right." I dare say this looks exactly like the illustration from earlier in the book. But no matter. And afraid of a disaster, Miss Clavel ran fast and faster. You'd think if it was an emergency, she wouldn't waste time putting on her regular clothes during the day. And she said, "Please, children, do tell me what is troubling you." And all the little girls cried, "Boo-hoo! We want to have our appendix out too." "Good night, little girls. Thank the Lord you are well. And now go to sleep," said Miss Clavel. And she turned out the light and closed the door. And that's all there is. There isn't any more. The end. Oh, and here's a list of those who may wish to identify the Paris scenes Ludwig Bemelmans has pictured in this book. On the cover and in one of the illustrations, the Eiffel Tower, in the picture of the lady feeding the horse, the opera, a gendarme chases a jewel thief across the Place Vendôme, a wounded soldier at the Hôtel des Invalides, a rainy day in front of Notre Dame, a sunny day looking across the garden at the Luxembourg. Behind the little girl skating is the church of the Sacré-Cœur, and a man is feeding birds in the Tuileries gardens facing the Louvre. Well, that's all there is for now. Until next time, have a good one.